Hey guys!
And someone just snuck their hands out of their swaddle, so he's also saying hello to you.
Who's he?
Elia.
Alionini.
Yes.
Alionini Uriah Sebastian Found.
We don't need to go into his full government name.
Say hello.
Elia Found is
We're
good enough.
introducing him.
This is Elia.
Mm-hmm. Say hello.
Say hello.
His mouth is hiding.
Are his eyes closed, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's trying to go to sleep.
There you go. See your pretty face.
Mm-hmm.
There. Eyes are open. Saying hello.
Mm-hmm.
Elia was born about 2.5 weeks ago on March 16th, and we have not seen you guys at all. I guess a little bit. We let you know he was here, but that was it, because it has been
a crazy journey.
I would just call it delightful.
It's been a crazy journey.
It has been. It's been a little bit wild, but we're happy we're definitely happy. Everybody's happy and healthy.
Everyone, yep.
And that is all I ever ask for. So I am ecstatic.
Yes.
But it was definitely a journey to get here.
So, as Dave said, he was born March 16th at 5:43 p.m. And you guys may or may not realize that's a little earlier than he was supposed to get here.
Mm-hmm.
And let's... Where does the story begin? The story begins on...
Well, you see, the birds and the bees.
Ooh.
I don't even understand the birds and the bees. Like, are the birds and the bees doing it with each other? It doesn't make any sense.
Can you focus?
Okay. I've just never understood that analogy. I would love to hear what the birds and the bees actually... somebody tell me that story.
The actual story.
Anyway, not important.
Mm-hmm. So the story begins on... Really, the last time you guys saw a vlog from us at the hospital. I need you to just pick up whenever.
I don't know what you're talking about yet. Well, the
last time we're at the hospital. We left on a Wednesday. You guys saw that vlog.
That's what I mean, the first time. Like, we didn't show them when we got there.
No.
On Monday.
No.
Right.
So you guys saw that vlog. We left on Wednesday, and I was like, yeah, I'm home. They put me on blood pressure pills.
Mm-hmm.
And that's supposed to get my blood pressure
back
down and under control. So the weekend came, and we had our second parenting class, and
that was its own effort. Like, just sitting through that.
Mm-hmm.
Wemi was not comfortable.
Not at all.
To say the least.
Not at all. Since coming back from the hospital, like, I could not sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I'd lay on my back, I would not be able to breathe. Like, literally, like, I'd feel like I was completely choked. I would always wake up, like, kind of choking and have
out of breath.
Yeah, completely out of breath. Have to try to, like, throw pillows around and elevate myself enough so I could sleep.
She tried sleeping in a chair, sleeping on her side, sleeping on her belly. Obviously, belly didn't work. Even you tried with the pillow, like wrapping a donut.
Tried. Yeah, like nothing was working.
Yeah.
I was always out of breath. I couldn't walk I could not get up a flight of stairs. Completely impossible. I had to take breaks on
sit on
like doing a flight of stairs. So
hello.
Someone wants to sleep.
We're just yapping away.
So anyways, so the weekend came. I barely survived our parenting class. Didn't even go out for lunch. I had made Dave go out for lunch, and I just sat there and waited for him because I was like, I'm not going to make it down those stairs and back up those stairs again. It's just not going to happen. So Sunday came, and we made a decision. We're like, you know what? Let's get his room ready and all that, because we were monitoring my blood pressure as well, and it wasn't going down. Hey,
it wasn't like jumping up real fast, but it wasn't going down, and it should have been. And it's like...
I'm going to re-swaddle you.
They kept telling us the kind of... Later we'll jump to how good of a baby he is. And
he's actually a really good kid.
He's just not proving that right now.
He only cries when he's hungry or uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I would say uncomfortables, that's only been twice.
Yeah.
If that.
And I feel like right now he's hungry.
Yeah. Oh, you think? He just ate. Anyway.
He's trying to eat his blanket.
Yeah, he does that. Anyway, our blood pressure was like, kind of going up, and it wasn't coming down, and the pills were obviously supposed to make that happen. And then the other thing was, it was like we were given these thresholds, and we'd already blown past the one threshold, being like, it's fine.
We're like, eh.
And then we went in for a regular appointment. They were like, geez, what were you doing? It was like, okay. So then they give us a new threshold, and then we're like,
They're like, if you get past, was it 150?
Yeah, I think it was 150 over 100. And we blew past that. And then I think they gave us the 180 as being like, that's for real.
Yeah, 180 is like,
you're
you're about to die.
Yeah, don't do that one.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, so it was hovering in the 150, 60 kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And by Sunday night, we were at like, I think high 160s.
Yeah, we never got into 170 at home.
I think we did.
No, I didn't think so.
I thought we did on Monday. So we're in the high 160s. So we're like, man, we're really like, we should be at the hospital. Based on what we've been told, we should be at the hospital right now. But you guys know I don't like going there. And I knew that if we go to the hospital, I'm getting admitted. I knew that for a fact. The fact that we were just there the previous week, they gave us steroids for baby's lungs. I was like, if I go, I'm getting admitted, and there's a very high chance they're going to induce me and have me deliver the baby. And I just was like, no, I want him to hang on as long as possible. So Sunday came, and we're like, you know what? Let's clean up his room and get everything ready. Let's pack our hospital bags. Like, let's actually, get ready for this, just in case something happens. So we spent Sunday. It was really me sitting in the rocking chair and Dave doing all the work, but packed our
just like any other day.
Because honestly, guys, like me just getting up from the chair was like a battle.
Yeah.
So
it is like, honestly, looking back, it's ridiculous. Like
compared to how I am now,
out of commission she was, and it's like it was so gradual getting into it that it was just like, whatever. Like it's fine.
It was like, you're just tired. You're just tired.
It is wild that she was not helpful.
I was not able to do a thing. Yeah. Like talking on the phone, I was out of breath. It was terrible. Yeah. So anyway, so we did all that on Sunday. Went to sleep. Woke up, Dave went to work, and he was like, check your blood pressure when you wake up. Like, let me know what it is. We should keep an eye on it. So I woke up Monday, and I was like, you know what? I gotta wash my hair. I've been letting this drag on for a while. So I washed my hair, which took all the energy in the world. I couldn't even, like, really do it properly. I was kind of like, you know what? Let's just throw some co-wash in there and call it a day. Anyway, so I did all that. And then I took my blood pressure, and it was still it was going higher. It did not get any lower. So I told Dave, and he's like, okay, like, take it again in a couple hours, let me know. And I let him know again later in the day. So on his way home, he called me, and we were talking, and I was just like, are we being irresponsible here? This hasn't gone down. Like, should we do something about it? Should we go to the hospital or not? We had a doctor's appointment with my OB the next day anyway. So we're like, you know what? Let's just go to the hospital tonight. We know she's in clinic tomorrow, so.
I'm just going to fast forward. So Wemi sounds atrocious right now, and she's really struggling, but she's okay.
Yeah.
She just sometimes labors a little bit, and we'll get to some of those aspects, but she's doing okay.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah. But it's okay. Take a breath. Do you want some water?
Yes, please.
So we with that in mind, with knowing that our OB, we had the regular appointment the next morning, and knowing that if we went in, we'd just get admitted, but she would actually just come by and see us anyway at the hospital, so it was just like, let's just go. So we go, and triage was ridiculous. It was
usually like when we get to triage, we immediately get a bed, and we're good.
And you can just tell, like, it's, usually it's a labor and delivery triage, or pregnancy triage or whatever. So it's separate from emerge, but it's just like going into emerge. Usually, sometimes you get to emerge and it's like, oh, okay, we're not going to be seen for a few hours because it's hectic right now. Or sometimes you get there and you're like, okay, there's not too many people here, this will work. With labor and delivery triage, it's like they're able to support however many people come in. Like it's usually
like there's always a bed available.
Yeah, it's usually nicely balanced. But just whether it was what was
time
it?
Change?
Yeah,
it
daylight
was the time
saving
change. Yeah, because we read it on the news that how like daylight savings time increases, like people have more heart attacks, blood pressures go up and all of that, and then triage was just ridiculous. Yeah. My blood pressure was going up. I was like, damn you, daylight savings.
So that was kind of funny. But eventually we sit in the waiting room a little bit, and then we finally get brought in, checked out, and obviously we get admitted because we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And,
so normally we get admitted to antenatal, which is where
pre-pregnancy.
not pre-pregnancy, pre-delivery.
Yeah. That's better.
But this time around, we got admitted to labor and delivery. Because they were like, yeah, there's a very high chance we're just going to induce you. You're not going home. Be prepared to have this baby in the next couple of days.
That's not how they started, in my recollection of it all, but that's definitely how Wemi's mind went.
Well,
I'm just saying, they didn't suggest it was that.
They did suggest it, but they're like, we'll see what we can do. We'll try to get your blood pressure under control, and we'll go from there. And then they noticed my labored breathing. That whenever I'd lay back, like, couldn't breathe. And the doctor's like, is that new? And I was like, it's kind of there. It's been there for a while. It's been slowly getting worse, but,
And we attributed it to kind of just being real pregnant.
Yeah, being pregnant, baby takes up space. Your lungs, get crowded.
And baby hadn't dropped yet.
Yeah. So I was just like, that's just part of it.
Yeah.
So the doctor was like, okay, that's interesting. So then Tuesday came. We're in labor and delivery. We're in our room. And all the tests in the world start. So I'm going to fast forward through all the, testing processes and stuff. But long story short, our first diagnosis was preeclampsia, which is, high blood pressure or protein in the urine. So the protein in my urine had gone up. My blood pressure obviously was shooting up. So that was our first diagnosis. And the cure for preeclampsia is delivery. Next diagnosis we received on Tuesday as well, right?
I don't know, go ahead.
Was mild heart failure, which is pretty much your heart being a little enlarged and fluid in your lungs. Hence why I couldn't breathe. So apparently that wasn't just the baby, that was my body. Now reverse back to when we're still home over the weekend. My feet were super swollen, and you guys had noticed they've been swollen for a while, but they'd go down at night. Next morning they'd be normal, and gradually over the day they would swell. But since we got discharged from the hospital the previous time through the weekend, my feet did not go down at all. Like, they stayed massive. Dave and I, he helped me do Epsom salt baths and stuff. Nothing.
Wasn't
just
working.
Stayed big ass crazy, just ridiculous. So they then diagnosed me with mild heart failure, and they said, we need to treat that and your high blood pressure before we can deliver the baby, because we don't want you going into labor with high blood pressure, and we don't want you going into labor and not being able to breathe.
Right.
Kind of makes sense.
An ironic piece of the high blood pressure is the cure for it was delivery, but they couldn't deliver without first getting it kind of under control.
Yeah.
So it was kind of
so they increased my blood pressure medication significantly, and they're like, you know what, hopefully this, and the med is supposed to work kind of instantly.
Yeah.
It should show some result.
Yeah.
It's not going to fix you, but it should be reflected. So they did that, and I think it started going down.
Absolutely,
it started going down, so they then said, okay, we need to treat the mild heart failure. How do you treat that? We got to get the fluid out of your body. So they put me on
Lasix.
So it's a diuretic that makes you just pee like crazy, so that you get the fluid out of your body.
Yeah.
So we did that all day Tuesday.
So just a tiny note. It's okay. So Lasix I thought this was kind of cool. Is basically what it did was for you it was an injection, I think, right?
Yeah, it was an IV.
Yeah, but basically it would go into her body, and it would be this medication that would go through her body and basically attract water into the bloodstream. And then by the time it got to the kidney would just be like, oh, hey, blood, you're carrying a lot of water. Let's clean you out and pee it out. And I'm just like, that is so cool. Because I was like, how do you get rid of water in your feet and your legs and your lungs? How does it work? And so I asked the doctor, and they explained it. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
I didn't know he asked them this.
Oh yeah, I asked all kinds of stupid questions. I'm sure they were so annoyed with me. But so that was kind of cool.
So we did that all day Tuesday. So I'm gonna say towards the end of the day on Tuesday, they came by and said, okay, we're gonna work to aim to deliver the baby on Wednesday. So we're going to give you an epidural Tuesday night, because the plan for my delivery had been vaginal delivery and with assisted
second
Yeah.
stage with forceps
Second stage
or the
assisted
vacuum.
delivery was my plan. So they're like, we'll put in the epidural Tuesday night just to make sure it works, and then first thing Wednesday morning, which for doctors is pretty darn early, it's like 6 a.m., was
Start the induction process.
first thing Wednesday, we'll start the induction process and induce you. So I was like, and they're like, prepare to have the baby by Thursday, was what they had said. They're like, it takes a while.
Yeah, they said, especially because we're doing early epidural and it's your first pregnancy, it can, can take 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
Like, who knows?
Yeah, so I
just
was
take
like,
your
all
time.
right, cool.
Kick your feet up.
Yeah.
Just relax.
Yeah, make yourself comfortable.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool. So Tuesday came. No, sorry. Tuesday night came. They came, gave my epidural, whatever. Wednesday morning came. They came over. They induced me.
You're gonna get out.
I don't remember what they did, but they gave me stuff. They induced me. Contractions started in the afternoon, and then they kind of kicked in my epidural a little bit so I wouldn't feel them as much. And all of a sudden, we're chilling. So in the through the induction process, like they gave me like my catheter and all that.
Catheter.
Catheter.
Yeah.
Catheter.
Yeah. You always say catheter.
Oh. Anyway, so they gave me all that. And they had the paddles on the baby to monitor his heart rate and my contractions. So I'll let Dave take over at this point because this is where I kind of checked out mentally.
Well, so I have a very detailed story of this whole process, and I want to share that just separately. And
yeah, we'll put that video up after this.
Yeah, the main reason I have that separate is that I wanted to recall in great detail everything that was happening, just because Wemi was out of it. So anyway, so they had the paddles on, and his heart rate started dropping. So they came in and checked him, and we kind of brushed it off at first, but then all of a sudden the nurse called for a backup team. They called for a backup stat, and I was like, oh, geez, okay. I don't think she said backup, but anyway, called in some more nurses or doctors. I'm not sure who came in. I think they're all nurses. But anyway, they were kind of acting a little bit frantically and just kind of like, what's going on? And so then they check his heart rate again another way, and it was still dropping. So they said, we're going to go to the OR. Okay. So we walk in there, and they were like, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but we're going to check his heart rate in there, and if it continues to drop, we're going to have to deliver. And if not, we'll just come back. I was like, oh, okay. Like, you guys know what you're doing. I'm not going to add any input. So we go in there. They wheel Wemi into the operating room, but left me out in the hallway. And basically, from what kind of fast forward a little bit, what actually happened was his heart rate was down a little bit to about 80, and it's supposed to be between 120 and 160. And it was down to about 80, and it jumped back up to about like 120. But then just kind of started going on the downward trend again. So they were like, they made the call and they said, let's get him out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, because this all happened within like 6 minutes, they weren't able to kick up my epidural enough for me to be pain-free and not feel the procedure. So unfortunately, the C-section had to be done instantly, and I didn't have the drugs to deal with it. So there was a lot of pain from my end, and Dave will tell you later, they did pump me with a bunch of other drugs when they could, and that kicked in when it could. But they got baby out.
Yeah. So it was basically a race for them, unfortunately. So they tried to kick up the epidural, but it wouldn't work fast enough compared to what they wanted to do in terms of getting him out so quickly. So then they thought they might put her under with general anesthetic. I don't know why they didn't. I don't think I ever asked that, but that was why I couldn't go in, because if they put her under general anesthetic, then they don't allow regular visitors in. So instead, they had to get her settled in terms of pain. And that's when they pumped her full of just pain medication, which didn't knock her out or anything, and it was only masking the pain and making her feel a little bit loopy as well, in terms of it wasn't painful anymore, but now you're under these drugs that have their own side effects, and I don't want to say what's the word, hallucinations, but it's pretty damn close. Yeah. But at the end of the day, little man Elio came out crying and screaming and yelling, which is great. Wemi doesn't recall it that way, and that's okay.
No, from my end, because as I said, throughout the actual first half of the C-section of them getting him out, I was still pretty conscious, and I could hear them, I could feel what was going on, and I felt they opened me, they kind of, forced open some space, and they grabbed him out. And I heard, "Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on, baby." So in my head, I'm just like, what is going on? Like, I am freaking out, because before they started cutting me, they said, prepare the resuscitation room. So I was just like, what do you mean resuscitation? Like, again, before I left our room, before they wheeled me out, I shut down. I didn't say a word to anyone. I said, I'm not talking to anyone until this baby's out. Like, I'm focusing on just staying calm and not letting people, get in my head and stuff. So when I did hear the resuscitation, I was just like, okay, dear God, you gotta, this baby's gotta be alright. So, when I heard them say, come on, baby, in my head, I'm just like, he's not okay. And I was freaking out. He's not okay. He's not crying. I can't hear him crying. And then eventually I heard his cry, and I was like, okay, everything's okay. And then at that point I was just like, I don't care. He's okay. He's crying. And then I think eventually Dave joined me.
So then I finally got brought into the room where Wemi is. So Elio got taken to another room, the resuscitation room. I'm not sure if that's aptly named, and I would just suggest
He did not need to be resuscitated.
Right, so
he was completely fine. He was breathing by himself.
I really feel like they need to rename that room, but that's just me. But anyway, I was finally brought to Wemi's side, and I was able to kind of hold her hand through the rest of that. She was, out of it beyond belief, but she was able to kind of squeeze my hand when I asked her to squeeze it. Just couldn't talk or do much else kind of thing at that point in time. But we sat together for a bit, and then they asked if I wanted to go see Elio, and I said of course, and I got to see my little man just crying and screaming, and actually he was comfortable at that point. And he was pretty cute. He was doing good. He had his chest all puffed out, trying to show himself off to all the lady doctors that were working with him. But so it was pretty awesome to see him. And then I came back, had some pictures, and I brought him back to Wemi, and I showed her. And I don't know, do you remember me showing? Yeah. So I showed her and just told her how proud I was of her, and how he's here and he's doing great, and we'll get through this. And so they had to obviously stitch Wemi back up and carry on with that. But at the end of it, we got back to our room, which everything's all done, but Elio was still in this resuscitation room, and he was with a couple other babies were in there too, so we couldn't go in. Wemi couldn't go in because she was completely out of it.
I didn't get to see him at all.
So eventually, when we got told that he might have to go to level 2, which I thought meant the second floor. It actually meant a different hospital. And I asked, what our options were on that, and basically there was none. It was basically they were out of space, is what they told me, which we also think is not actually true. But anyway, I said, well, I don't have any choice. We'll have to figure it out. If he has to go somewhere else, he's got to go somewhere else. He needs to get the best care. So whatever. Ironically enough, it meant that he was actually doing really well, and he didn't need as good of care as Mount Sinai could give because they're level 3. But anyway, so after dealing with that, a little time went by, and we found out he would actually stay in the hospital. And so on his way up to the NICU, they brought him by Miss Wemi, and she was able to see him very briefly because they didn't charge the battery on his little cart. But he came by, and it was a pretty miraculous thing to see her. Sense his arrival, because she was, when I tell you she was out of it, guys, she was just unconscious. You would there was practically no life in her. It was unbelievable how groggy and weak I think she was, and kind of out of it, because she would literally just be kind of laying there, and then just say, she said once to me, congratulations. It was like a sarcastic congratulations. You blew it again, or something like that. And I don't think it had anything to do with, like, it was just random words kind of thing. And I was like, what did you just say? And she would just be like, what? And had no idea that and I said, I was like, you literally just said this to me. And she was like, no, I don't remember that. And then just right back to sleep. And you'd be talking to her, and she'd even sometimes would be able to kind of, be in the conversation and then just fall asleep, literally in mid-sentence and stuff. So when I say out of it, she was out of it. And Elia was just kind of in the hallway, and she could just kind of like feel it or something, and you could see her eyes just like wide open, and he gets carted in, and she sits up and reaches out to him and talks to him, and is just kind of being with him in the moment. And it was ridiculous to see. And then we hung out for a little bit. They took some pictures. The one doctor there was nice enough to take some pictures of us, and I think we got a little bit of footage. I haven't looked at it, but anyway, so he was there for about 5 minutes or whatever, and then they wheel him away, and let me just and right out again, and it was kind of cool to see kind of mother instincts or mother energy, yeah, because she pretty much just tapped into something that I don't think she's ever had before, and just to spend a little time with the little guy. So that was kind of cool. But unfortunately, what that meant is he was going upstairs to an ICU, in which where he would spend a week and a bit, almost 2 weeks, I guess. And unfortunately, Mom had to stay in the hospital for almost 2 weeks as well. Yeah. And which meant that it was very hard to get them to see each other. And Alexa, stop. Sorry, guys. So that was a little bit of a struggle. I don't know if we're gonna go into that right now.
Yeah.
We're 27 minutes in.
Yeah,
or 37
I figure we're gonna give this to you guys, and you watch it if you want to.
Do we want to do a part 2?
I don't know. You want to?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
I just feel like if you're already watching at this point, just finish it.
All right. Well.